Hi everyone, this is Carl Schuckert welcoming you back to our training site, finalexpenseprogram.com, your leading authority for final expense sales education. Before we get started, this is copyright material and duplication, distribution, or reproduction is strictly prohibited by law without written consent from finalexpenseprogram.com. In case you did not have the chance to get back with us, I would like you to go ahead and grab that notebook and that one you wrote your training on. And pause now in case you did not have it. So go ahead and do that now. Great. Now let's talk about what's in it for you. Let's talk about how your commissions work and how advancing of your business works. I'll use $55 a month as an example. This is an average monthly premium and it equals to $660 in annual premium. Then let's take that and times it by your commission percentage and convert it into a decimal point. So if you're on a 60% commission rate, that would be 0.6. Now times that by the number of months you're getting advanced and then turn that into a percentage and then also into a decimal point. So if you're on a 9-month advance, that would be 75%, which is 0.75 of $660 in annual premium, times your commission level with equal or upfront commissions. So here's an example. Let's take a husband and wife who each spend $55 a month. Now times that by 12 for the number of months in which your annual premium is, which will equal $1,320. Now times your commission level by 0.6, which will equal $792. Times that by your advancing amount, 0.75, which is $594. So for the year, you would make $792 in commissions, and in upfront commissions, you would make $594. That's not too bad for an hour or two's worth of work, wouldn't you say? This does not include renewals. If you're making a 5% renewal, that would be 0.05 times that annual premium. So $66 a year for those two policies. And that could go out for the next 10 years or longer. And remember, this is an average size deal. We will teach you how to increase your average premium per sale, which will increase your overall income, and we'll talk more about that later. So use this formula to figure out your commissions. Annual premium times commission level times advancing equals your upfront pay. And you should see it up here. Using this example, in the 10th month, you'll receive what we call backsides. It will be your commissions, and based off of your commission level, based off of your customer's premium. Then once you have been doing this business for a year, you can expect to start seeing what we call the renewals. Also included on the bottom of this video is an Excel spreadsheet. Use this spreadsheet to put your commission level, your average premium or sell, and any of the lead costs plus your renewals. The Excel will show you in subsequent years of what your future commissions will look like. That's pretty exciting. I've met people who have written over $500,000 in a year. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and kill yourself like this person did. I'm just saying that it's possible. And really, it just depends on how far you want to take it. To keep it simple, let's just say you wrote $100,000 in first year premium, which is not that hard to do as long as you plan accordingly. You could figure out what you would like your next year's renewals to be. I also want to mention that you want to be focused on retention. You will want to make sure that your retention is somewhere from 76% to 95%. Someone that's really good will have about 80% or higher retention rate. So keep that in mind, especially when you're looking at these numbers. And if your goal is $100,000 in premium and your goal is to have a 90% retention rate, then you're going to need to write about $110,000 to hit your goal. Also, many carriers offer what they call retention bonuses. This will also add to your overall income as well. So the need for the product is there, the opportunity is very lucrative, and it can be very rewarding. Let's face it, we're all going to die. It is just something we absolutely need, and we need to have some type of life insurance to take care of our loved ones when we pass away. Today, the cost of a funeral is anywhere between $7,000 and $12,000. This price ranges for services at the funeral home, burial, and installment of the headstone. While cremation is getting popular, traditional funerals are still the most important way for disposing the deceased. Plus, there is inflation and family costs to consider. I've heard that funerals are the third largest purchase for many people in their lifetime, behind a home and a car. I have also heard that planning a funeral is like planning a wedding. The only difference is that you have 6 months to plan for a wedding and you only have 24 to 48 hours to plan for a funeral, typically. So the opportunity for burial insurance and funeral insurance is pretty high up there, and it's a great opportunity because of that. It's really a win-win-win for both you, the client, and the insurance company. Now let's talk about the challenge with sales positions. I'm not just talking about the insurance industry, I'm talking about sales positions overall. The challenge with sales is what I've heard is what they call it the 80-20 principle. You may have heard this before. I hear it all the time, and people look at this as if it was a real number. And what I mean by this is that they're looking that 80% are going to fail and 20% are going to succeed. Unfortunately, in the last 10 years or so, this number has even gotten worse. I believe that this rule is more like a 90-10, so only 10% are going to succeed nowadays. So if you're an agency owner, that means that you have to recruit 100 people, and out of 100 people, only 10 of them would stick. This is a huge challenge, especially with that number. What I wanted to do is not only find solutions to this problem and bring it to your attention, I also wanted to discuss these issues with you, and that I believe why so many people are not successful and what successful people are doing differently. So what I've done is I've broken this down into 4 separate quadrants. First, desire. Second, training. Third, habits. And fourth, leadership. So let's talk about the first one, desire. This is one of my favorite topics. It's not just desire. You need to have a burning desire. You need to also be compassionate, not just passionate, yet you need to be compassionate about what you're doing. We are going to do an exercise that will help you find your why. And once you've found your why, you'll find your burning desire. We will help you get in touch with this in an upcoming section. Even if you've done something like this before, it's still a good idea to do it again. Burning desires do change from time to time. This is one of my biggest secrets that I'm going to give you in this next training. Next is training. This is also a big one that a lot of people are missing or not getting it in the way that produces results for them. This is probably the #1 reason why most people quit or fail. Most of the people out there did not realize that they gotten themselves into, which is a sales and marketing position. And if you think about it, the word sales has a lot of stigma to it. You know what I'm talking about. When you think of the word salesman, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it high-pressured salespeople that work at car lots, or high-pressured salespeople who work door to door? And I'm not saying that these people are bad people or anything like that. What I'm saying is that a lot of these people were trained incorrectly. In order to be looked at like this is very unfortunate, and it also gives our profession a bad name. Even the word insurance salesman or woman is a dirty word. Who wants to sit down with an insurance man? No one wakes up in the morning and says, I need to buy life insurance. I need to buy life insurance today. I'm going to call my insurance agent right now and buy me some life insurance. For the ones who get this right away, excel quickly. We will show you how to overcome this stigma. Once you get this, people will attract to you. They will become curious at what you're offering. And this is something that you can learn with practice. And you will be more than someone that is a salesperson who will be considered you'll be considered an advisor or a consultant. People who struggle the most at sales tend to get very frustrated, and out of frustration, they handle most common objections or concerns or resistance by battling with their prospect, going back and forth like an MMA match, only with words, because the tone of their voice and their body language, and it comes from frustration, which tends to be misconstrued, and then sales never happen. These are the most common mistakes that salespeople find themselves trapped underneath. We call this a rut. I've even heard Tom Hopkins, the international sales trainer and probably the #1 sales trainer out there, say, sales is the easiest low-paying job and the hardest high-paying career. All of this comes down to training, not even the very best training or systems. Sometimes just having systems, having something that you can fall back on and something that you can use to help yourself become successful is all you need. This is why having a script works so well in our business. Having a script, a plan, and getting really good at that script is key. It's like being an actor and filming an act in a scene. Have you ever seen a movie where the acting was bad? Would you refer anyone to see this movie? Of course not. And the flip side, have you seen a movie that moved you, made you laugh, made you cry, and at the end you wanted to see it again? This is what I'm talking about. Sales are the true transfer of emotions. It is about using emotions that trigger logic and get people receptive to move forward with what you are offering. Sales training is about having a presentation script and the practice that transfer emotions into logic and the persuasion to act upon them. This training is the reason why I wanted to put this website together. Our mission is to train the other 80 or 90%, or at least put a dent in that number. The only difference between the great and the not so great are the skills that they possess. One of my favorite sayings by Vince Lombardi is the saying that leaders are not born, they're taught. And this goes with salespeople also. You have to become a great salesperson in order to become a great leader. Next, I'm going to talk about habits. Not just habits, but right habits. While this has a lot to do with being properly trained, it also has a lot to do with getting yourself set up correctly and following the systems the way you're supposed to. Just like brushing your teeth every morning, it is a habit. So is sales. We're going to teach you in our sales series of many different topics that will become your habits. We're going to show you how to track your numbers. We're going to show you how to look at your numbers. We're going to show you how to use a presentation and what the structure of a presentation should look like. We will show you the words that will help you sell and show you how to work smart by scheduling yourself correctly. Every system that will become habit forming, and when you put in the right habits, you'll have the right success. What happens is people will develop bad habits. Sometimes it has a lot to do with leadership and training. The most important thing is you found us and this is what we promise to deliver. I know some agencies will use this site as another added support system on top of what they're already doing. Habits have a lot to do with the actions you are taking daily. Obviously, you could have great leadership, you could have great training, and you could even have a burning desire. However, if you're not willing to go out and do the actions that it takes, you're missing one thing that just needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed fast. So put it back in your practice. Here, you have to have a mind shift while changing your mind to think more proactively, especially about what the things that are the most effective for you by prioritizing your day. What are the actions that profit the most? What are the things that are creating the most return for your investment? A lot of this will come down to working them. Stop thinking and start doing. Getting yourself into the cycle of doing. Once you have found that what is working best, you will want to scale up. For example, once you know your numbers, meaning you know your closing ratio, you know your average premium per sale, you know the cost per sale, and the average number of presentations per week. Once you know these hard numbers, which we're going to teach you on how to track, you will then know for every dollar you stick in, you'll get back 2 or 3 or even 4. Once you know these numbers, you will find ways to maximize your profits, including ways to tighten up on those numbers. Last is leadership. I think this is very important. I mean, obviously it's something that helps keep motivation, accountability, and support. So it's like a very important three-legged stool. I realize that not everyone on our video training needs to have much leadership in his or her agency. You know, that's like comparing and contrasting between a captive agency and an independent agency, because on the captive side, there's usually great and a lot of leadership and is modeled as the #1 most important thing. Where on the independent side, usually there's not much or little to none as far as leadership goes. However, when it comes down to getting to work, leadership doesn't matter. It comes down to you leading yourself. I want to ask you to become your own leader, a leader of yourself. Be your own leader. Lead yourself from the front. And if you decide that you want to lead others, that's great. First, you need to lead yourself and become a great student. They say great leaders are the best followers. So follow the best trainers out there. If you do not know any, then find some. Go out to the bookstore or Amazon and find books about this and read them. There are a lot of different leadership styles that have links to sales. Really, all of them do. What I'm getting at here is do not rely on your company to make it happen. Even if you have great leadership within your organization, motivate yourself, hold yourself to your own expectations, and find support from others. In today's day and age with the internet, social media, and membership sites like this one, if you need support, then ask for it. Take what you have and run with it. You should have complete buy-in of your product and your company or your carrier. When you decided to take this career path, you subconsciously already bought into it. Trust yourself and go with it. We will get more into this subject down the road. Also, buy yourself a final expense policy, especially if you do not have one, and carry it with you in the field. This shows you believe in the product. Plus, you do not want to leave that type of burden on your loved ones, do you? It's the silliest thing to die without life insurance when you sell it. All right. That is it for now for this section. I know I went over my time, so we will see you on the next training. Remember to like us on our social media where you can find bonus training, and make sure to stay active within our blog. Also, tell the community and tell us what books have helped you the most in your life and business and personal life. We are a community that helps one another. See you on the next episode, where we're going to help you find your why. And also, as an added tip before we watch the next one, make sure you watch it in a quiet place, hopefully at home. This is Carl Schickert with FinalExpenseProgram.com.